So I'm here with Sue Bruce of Sue Bruce Photography. She has a studio in town. So tell me about your studio. How did you get into photography?
So I have been a photographer for 17 years. I'm probably showing my age at this point, um, but 17 years. And I started actually because of a PTO involvement with the Fisk School in Lexington. I had been an avid photographer personally just for a long time. Always had a camera in my hand from probably the age of 11. And I was helping to organize the Fisk Fair. And eventually I became the PTO president for 5 years. But there were some photo donations to the auction, and a fellow member said, I know you do this. You should donate something. You're good. So I did.
Oh,
And that is how it started.
wow. Over the years, has your photography evolved, or have you always been interested in the same sort of photography? I mean, sounds like that was sort of like family kid style,
Right.
what do you like to do?
So it has changed. I mean, if you were looking at the 17 years ago me, I was very part-time, extremely passionate about only working when my kids were at school. And if you had asked me to photograph grass for your business, I would have photographed grass. Whatever you needed, I would have done. And that's not to say that that's wrong. And there are a lot of starting out photographers who absolutely fill those niches where people
Right.
have a need. But that has evolved over a long period of time. So now I have two brands. You probably know that. I really specialize in commercial portraiture. A lot of my clients are in real estate. They're professionals, they're executives. I have a lot of medical industry clients.
Okay.
And for that Sue Bruce photography brand, they are looking for business headshots, personal branding, imagery to populate their website. And then I have my other brand, and I don't know if you want me to go into that at
Oh, I
all.
do. I have a lot of questions. So
Most people do.
I know. So I'm going to get them all answered right here, right now. So.
So yes, my other brand is Finest Courtier. It's a different name. It's really a shout out to my heritage. I'm English. You probably couldn't tell from the accent. I've been here 25 years. I don't think the accent's going. um,
It's such a great accent, though. I think people just like to listen to it all day. So,
oh, thank you. I do. If I had to list assets, I would say that would be probably right up there because people listen. It's wonderful. But so my other brand is very much about empowerment, body positivity. And this really grew out of my experiences with my corporate clients, with people coming into the studio dreading having their headshot done because not necessarily that they'd had a bad experience, but maybe that they'd worked for a large corporation, corporate America, and their experience has been shuffle up, stand there, stay still, turn this way, turn that way. And it, they just dreaded it. It was almost like the dentist for them. I hate getting in front of the camera myself. I mean, honestly, there's a reason I'm on this side of the camera,
right.
you know. But it really grew out of that, a curiosity with what do we need to do to have you feel awesome? Like to make this an experience that you say, that is what I want to do. I want my experience to be like this. I want to feel loved and appreciated. And even in a headshot, that a team is there with hair and makeup and I don't have to worry about finding these things. And yes, I can bring a whole suitcase, sometimes two, of clothes, and someone will go through and say, this is awesome. That's awesome. Let's do this. Let's do that. And the finest courtier grew out of that, and also with a fascination, really, of just people. How do you make art out of people, and how can that change how you feel about yourself?
So in this finest courtier, are most of your clients women?
We are about, I would say, 75% women, 25% men.
Mhm.
And when I say that, what I mean is female and male identifying. So we are very much an open studio. We're very body positive. I think I mentioned that already.
Mhm.
But we don't really care about gender identities or how you choose to look at yourself. So I do shoot men and male identifying people.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so it's probably like a 75-25 split.
Mhm. Do couples ever come in together or is it personal?
No, so lots of couples.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
lots of couples, and more so as a result, I do believe, of COVID. I think that what has happened, well, it's been difficult. I mean, I think it's right to acknowledge that um, I have been shut down for a few months at the beginning of COVID. I
Mhm.
am open. We're obviously fully compliant to all of those restrictions, regulations. Absolutely, gosh. Um, but I think people have turned to look at themselves during this time. I think if I could say that there has been a positive, it's been a period of reflection. Um, and yes, I have had an increasing number of couples, um, women, men as well. Um, really, yes, coming to appreciate their journeys and look at themselves differently. And I would actually say it used to be, my business used to be more commercial business portraiture. It switched.
Mm.
I'm probably two-thirds boudoir, if that's boudoir, if you, that's what you kind of want to say it, um, than the corporate stuff at this point.
Interesting. Does anyone ever come in for a headshot and then we'll do the other as well? Like we'll want to come back and have that done as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have parts of the studio, and I'm on Bedford Street.
Okay.
I have it's a studio. I don't shoot out of my home. It's a proper commercial studio. So I have lots of items for display, and people will walk in their headshot, and then they're just on their way out, and they're all like, "What's that? What it?" And so then we will often get into conversations, and I'll show them things, and the album, we have sample albums and wall art and all kinds of stuff. And I think what I've been able to do is create a different experience with a headshot so that people walk in feeling very much like you said, and then they've finished and they're like, oh, I actually kind of had fun. That was interesting. And then they start to realize it could be a whole different experience.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think that's really important, to create that diversity with a business, create something different.
Mhm. Mhm.
And people look at the albums and the things that I have, and they're interested and engaged. And I feel comfortable with you, Sue. This would be awesome. I want to do this now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's wonderful. It gives me chills. I I am very passionate about what I do and making people feel awesome about themselves. And I just today published a blog about this kind of thing, and how it it trickles down. Your sense of self, your sense of courage and confidence and empowerment. You'd be surprised to what corners of yourself that trickles down to.
Mhm.
um, just having this good experience of seeing yourself differently, it can change your life. It really can.
Hmm. So people must have a really good sense of comfort around you, right? Like that they are willing to be vulnerable and open, right? Like, do you
The
have to practice to create that, or do you feel like it's just a talent you have?
People tell me that they feel very comfortable. I am wicked sarcastic. I have inherited my European sarcastic roots. Um, I don't think it's something I've looked into or even practiced. I think that's just the way that I am.
Okay.
Um, I love that. I love that people feel comfortable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If I said, okay, yeah, I would love to do that, do you then help people when they get there, um, give them some options sort of for creativity and art, or do people come with an impression of what they want, or is it a collaboration? Like, how does that part work?
So it's often a collaboration. I have my website is quite extensive, and there are examples of very many things, most of which are done in my studio space. Um, Sometimes people are not sure, and they will. I always do a video consultation. It used to be an in-person consultation, but obviously right now it's not something I think I should do. But just being able to see somebody on the screen and hear them talk about why their why and what they think they would gain from it. Perhaps they have some areas that they're not feeling so confident about themselves, or I ask very direct questions. What's your favorite part of you? Or if they're doing it for a partner, what is their favorite part of you? What would they tell me if they were sitting right there? We have a lot of brides. It's a very popular gift to give to a wedding, their significant others.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those questions are how would you like to be pictured? Do you want to be very demure and a little bit sexy, or do you want to go full on, give someone a heart attack? um, and we very often have a lot of fun with that. But yes, I do. Every session is different. There is no cookie cutter. I really like to do new stuff, different stuff. And I have people who are on their fifth, sixth time
Wow.
back. And not one of those people have said, oh, it looks kind of the same. Every time we do something different and we
Uh-huh.
experiment, we do black lights and neon paints, and I have an entire shower set, and we do bodyscapes and use oil or glitter or stuff. Just interesting, and it keeps me engaged. I love it. I love the creativity. You can probably tell because I'm waffling now. I'm very passionate about making a difference.
Right, right. That sounds interesting, right? Do you think it's all different personalities that like will come in for that?
I have on my website, and I recently, so my one of my goals for 2021 is to start blogging again. So I did. I have kept up so far. We're only on what, February the 8th?
That's good. You got through January.
I
That's
think I'm on
good.
8 blogs.
Wow, that's
I
good.
know. I think I'm so, and I'm enjoying it. I love to write. Um, I have on there that my clients are 20 to 120.
Okay.
Um, and that, okay, 120 might not be completely accurate, but the point is, it doesn't matter what age you are. It really doesn't. I don't shoot under 20. I'm very strict about that. Um, but I think my oldest client is 76.
Oh,
And honestly, people kind of get a little bit confused about, they see the word boudoir or intimate photography and they think, oh gosh, I'm going to have to be in underwear or maybe nothing.
mhm.
That's not the case. Could be voyeuristic, um, could be just a beautiful evening gown with a tiny little slip of leg, a beautiful shoulder, the turn of a cheek. It doesn't, you don't have to show anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we have many clients who've done this for 40, 50, 60 birthday gifts to themselves who just want to see themselves differently. They don't need to see the whole body. They know what they look like.
Right.
But just to be wrapped in a beautiful shawl and a little bit seductive, different than they've ever thought to be posed or photographed before. So I think this is something that really could be for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's amazing. I personally, so you should always do, if you believe in what you're selling, you should be willing to do it yourself. So
Right.
I think I'm on 7 sessions myself. I'm not afraid to share those either. It's taught me a lot. It really has. The value of seeing, you have to do it. You really have to do it to just look at yourself and go, wow, that's me.
Mm.
Look at me. Like I said, it trickles down to, you'd be surprised, all different areas of your life. It's very inspiring. I love it. I love watching people. So we don't do online proofing or stuff like that with those boudoir sessions. It's
Mm.
part of a process. People come back to the studio. They have sometimes a glass of champagne or something, and they see themselves presented as art a few weeks after their session. To watch them, to watch their reaction. I never say anything. I'm like,
Mm.
occasionally I do, because sometimes I have really favorite images and I'm so happy the way it comes out. But to watch them, and sometimes they'll bring a husband or a wife, a significant other, and oh, it's magical. It's magical. People literally walk different when they leave.
Wow.
It's a different business. There really are not. There are a lot of people who do this, but not who do this in a very public way, that they have, you know, a dedicated studio, that they're full time, they have a team. Um,
Right.
so yes, I know I'm a little bit different.
That's nice. That's nice. Um, you had said one thing that made me think of something. So, do people ever, does this expand to like the woman who is pregnant? Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, so I do what you would call maternity boudoir.
Okay.
And I actually just have a returning client from 2 years ago who just booked. And I've had a couple of guys book their wives
How nice.
for sessions, which I think is so cute. I actually have a couple session with his wife, who was really quite heavily pregnant, and that's again in my portfolio. So yes, all kinds,
Nice.
everything you can possibly think of. Yes, certainly.
And I'm assuming that your prices are on your website as well. At least people have a sort of a sense of what it will cost to do this.
Yes, absolutely. There is an investment tab on my website.
Okay.
And then if you or anybody who's viewing were to look at the stories link on my website, you will see a blog that I just put up about what is luxury. So I am a luxury service. I differentiate myself very much from many other people. Um,
Mhm.
in the way that I do things. And I spent a great deal of time thinking about that this past week. What is luxury? What should you expect? So yes, I'm luxury service. There are some investment guides. I do have my session retainers there. We do include hair and makeup
Good.
with
Okay.
those sessions. And if it's a couple session, then we default to one person having hair and makeup. But of course, you can always add a second person.
Right.
Um, my team, it's different than other photographers in that when we're booking hair, you're actually having your hair washed, styled and dried in the salon. That's Philip Champa Salon, one of Boston's top 50 salons. And then I have 3 people in my makeup team, artists, and they come into the studio. They see you after your hair. Hair is about 45 minutes. Makeup is about 45 minutes. We do include lashes with our makeup. So yeah, I mean, and the boudoir sessions are catered. They
Nice.
are literally catered. We use Nelios. You're probably familiar with them. So I have done all of their food photography.
Oh,
And
nice.
so what they've done for me is they're able, we do like a platter in bite size so that you don't wipe your lipstick off. But even if you do, we have a whole range of lipstick with single use brushes. So everything I've thought of
You've thought of
all
everything.
the things, yes. Just over the years, these are the things people worry about. They don't eat for a day because they think that will make a difference, which it doesn't. Everybody is just beautiful, and it's all really about posing and the ability of the photographer to pose you properly. You're going to be with me for 4 or 5 hours. I only shoot one a day. Um,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, it's busy, and it's not at all what people think it will be. So
Right. Say I want to do this. Do you suggest to me like outfits I might want to bring?
So I usually start by referring people to, again, another blog post that finally I made public. I have a vendor recommendation blog where I have it by category. And what I mean by high end, high street, affordable, curvy, for men, corsets, hosiery. So I have different vendors categorized into different sections. I have also a studio closet, a client closet, and it's quite extensive at this point. I probably have 7 or 8 feet of hanging rails.
Oh,
And that's really designed for the person who perhaps isn't sure they're going to feel comfortable. Maybe they're a little nervous or a little shy, and invariably in less than 10 minutes they are no longer changing in the changing room. They are woof, throwing it off and just very occasionally wish they'd perhaps bought something that was a little racier maybe, or a little different. And that's the advantage of having a client closet. The session takes on this can do magical. It's just one. I love seeing how clients evolve.
nice. Nice. Well, you can certainly hear the passion, right, in your voice. So,
Okay.
yes. And I really appreciate it. I've always wanted to kind of like ask you all these questions because I'm very curious. I'm like, that sounds so interesting. So, and I imagine there's a lot of us out there like that. So,
Yeah, and I'd like to reach some of those people to say it's okay. You don't have to be afraid. I'm always open to emails, texts, my number, the studio address. All of that is easily available on my website. I'm on Instagram. So
awesome.
yeah, I'd love for people to reach out, and if they want to come visit the studio, of course, absolutely. We'll just set an appointment, and that's kind of how the consultation thing started.
Right.
Come see, just
Right.
come
Right.
see
Right.
and be comfortable.
Nice. So, well, thank you so much for your time. This was super interesting.
Welcome.